This rifle has been on my bucket list for quite a while now. If you play Call of Duty, you would know this as the CR56 AMAX. If you play PUBG, you might know this as the Ace 30 something. Or if you've played the most recent Battlefield, you would know this rifle as the NVO something something or another. But in real life, we refer to this rifle as the Galil Ace. Ladies and mostly gentlemen, welcome to Gamer Guns. I am your average size host, and that's right, today we are talking about the Galil Ace, more specifically the Gen 2 Ace. I've had this gun on my bucket list for quite some time as a fellow gamer, but before we start, guys, I would like to say beautiful morning here in wild and wonderful West Virginia, and thank you for all the support on the last video. This is the second installment to the series I'm wanting to do with this channel here, Video Game Guns in Real Life. This will be part 2. I appreciate all the support on the last video. If you haven't checked it out, go do so. After you watch this one, of course, likes, comments, boost the algorithm here on the channel. So if you don't care, just take a second of your time, click the like button, subscribe, leave me a comment down below. Constructive criticism goes a long way, guys. I'm new to this, still feel kind of awkward doing it, but I'm going to chase my dream regardless of what the haters say. Like, comment, subscribe, guys. Let's talk about the Galil Ace. So, what the heck is it? How does it work? Well, the Galil is pretty much Israel's attempt at a better improved AK. A lot of AK purists tend to hate when you say that, but I can't help it. It just is what it is, guys. It's a long stroke, piston operated platform, chambered in 7.62 by 3.9. This sample is at least. There is some other calibers, 5.56, 5.45, 7.62 NATO, or 308 as we most often refer to it in the civilian world. It shares most of its characteristics from the AK, and internally very similar, externally very similar, has pretty much the same silhouette as you would see on an AK minus, you know, the fancy rail system and what have you. I do not want to turn this into an AK versus Galil comparison video. It's not what it's meant to be. But I'll go ahead and give you a rundown in simple terms how the operating system works and how it would disassemble. I can't disassemble it on video because YouTube is not very gun friendly, and for some reason that is against our community guidelines. But anyhow, long stroke piston operating system like I mentioned before. You pop this dust cover off, there is a recoil spring and guide rod system that you could then remove just like an AK. You pull your bolt carrier and bolt mechanism to the rear, and then it will then remove out of the rifle. The gas tube or piston tube, whatever you like to call it, is designed a little differently than the AK. Traditionally, the piston tube would be retained by the upper handguard portion of the AK. As you can see, this has a rail which is free floated, so they had to go with a little different design on how the gas tube or piston tube marries up to the rifle itself. If you are completely foreign to how a long stroke piston system works, there is a port in the barrel and you have a gas block which is pinned to the barrel. That port allows gases and pressures to escape the bore once the projectile reaches a certain point, and then push your piston and your entire bolt carrier mechanism rearward, recocking your fire control group and rechambering the next round. That's enough comparison and mechanical talk. Let's talk a little bit about the ergonomics and what you can see here on the outside of the rifle. As mentioned before, free float handguard featuring Picatinny at the 12 o'clock, M-lock at the 3, 9, and 6 o'clock. I have a Troy vert grip on here. I think it fits the aesthetic pretty well. The dust cover is drilled and tapped to hold a Picatinny portion to mount optics. Very superior to the traditional AK. I know I said I wasn't going to do that anymore, but the dust cover does seem to retain zero pretty well. The recoil spring and guide rod assembly is designed a little differently to give you more rigidness, as well as there is a peg right in this general area here. I know you can't see it very well, that interfaces with the rail assembly, giving you a more solid lockup and a better ability to retain zero, if you will. I'm going to do this again, even though I said I wasn't going to. Charging handle on the left side, unlike your typical AK charging handle being on the right-hand side of the firearm. I believe this is much better for right-handed shooters, maybe not left-handed shooters, but left-handed shooters could charge it like a righty would charge an AK. Pretty heavy rifle overall, not too bad. It is still very balanced. When I first saw this, I was worried that it was going to be very front heavy because of this super chunky handguard, and that's actually not the case. The rifle actually balances itself pretty decently. You have a buffer tube adapter back here, M4 stock adapter, which allows you to attach any M4 stock of your liking. It comes factory with the Magpul CTR, as well as this little cheek riser, which is very necessary if you're going to run a higher optic, or an optic that would typically be considered like a lower 1/3 co-witnessable optic. If you run a lower mounted optic, you could then remove the cheek riser, which I think does fit the aesthetic better when it's gone. But with it on here, it does allow me to get a good cheek weld while still using the EOTech. This is a EXPS3. The safety, I will roll some B-roll in for the safety. It is kind of ambidextrous. On the right-hand side of the rifle, you have very AK-ish, typical sweep safety, so you could then disengage or engage with your trigger finger. But over here on the offhand side, you have this little mechanism that you can work with your thumb. I'll run some B-roll in so you can see that better. I do like this. I think it tends to work very well. What I have found myself doing is making ready. When I present the rifle, I will disengage the safety with my thumb, and when I'm done shooting whatever, killed the cardboard, I will re-engage the safety with my index finger. So I think it works out pretty great for right-handed guys. Maybe not so great for lefties, I don't know. But that's about it on the ergonomics. The grip is polymer. This whole portion of the rifle is polymer. K&S makes a really nice plastic delete kit that I may end up throwing on here. I'm not sure. I think the polymer does kind of fit the aesthetic, but the polymer delete kit looks very nice as well. Let's talk a little bit about how it shoots. I hate to talk too much and bore you to death. I myself do not like to watch videos where people talk the entire time, but I find myself doing that quite often. How's it shoot? Well, it is a long stroke 7.62 by 3.9 gun, so it's pretty thumpy, just like an AK. A little bit overcast. I am running some Norma 7 and 6. This is some pretty good stuff. It's a little bit underpowered, but it makes for some pretty great, like, range training ammo, plinking ammo. But let's go ahead and take a few shots on steel. We're at probably about 50 yards. Okay, so right off the rip, I realized I forgot to mention the trigger. Trigger's pretty fantastic for an AK style trigger. It is 2-stage, little bit of take up, nice quick, clean break, nice fast, quick reset. It is very audible, very tactile. Quick. Okay, pretty good shooting gun, very fun. I couldn't help myself, got to take a few more shots. This rifle is very fun to shoot, especially with this Norma being a little bit underpowered. We're going to just finish off the box here. Just like that. So, why would you buy this? Should you buy it? Well, I think for the love of the game, absolutely. This is an excellent rifle platform. Coming in around 1,800 bones, I think it's a good investment for somebody who is looking for a solid hard use rifle, or just a collector who wants this iconic platform in their collection. is used by military and policing outfits all across the world. Little interesting fact, Israel did not actually create this rifle for their own military and policing. They created it for external import solely, again, to military and police outfits all across the world, as well as the good old United States civilian market, because we love our guns. Good purchase if you have the money. Be responsible. Don't just go blow almost $2,000 on something that you do not need if you do not have the funds to support it. It could be a great hard use rifle. That's what it's designed to be. Just not for me. I have other guns to fit that category. To me, it's just something fun, something that I've used in video games for a long time throughout my life, and finally got the chance to get my hands on one and jumped on it. Overall, guys, pretty great rifle. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave me a comment down below if you have a Galil, what you think about it. And I'll catch you on the next one. Y'all have a good day.